So I did oh, thank you. So I did a degree in marine biology. So I have a bachelor's in marine biology. And after which I went straight from my bachelor's into my MPhil. For those of you who don't know, at MPhil, I'm going to probably type it in the chat. At MPhil is a Master of Philosophy. So MPhil, Master of Philosophy. And basically that is the, some countries call it, wait, let me turn on my camera, sorry, so you can see me. Right. So some countries call it a Masters of Research or a Research Masters, right? So it's based heavily on research. So I had to collect data from a location called Salt River in Clarendon, Jamaica. And I collected the data, I collected the fish, and I've been doing some research on them, morphometrics. I think we did a session for the fish lab on the morphometrics of a fish. And I also do some stomach content analysis to see what they feed on, and that feeds into, you know, discussions about their trophic relationships. I also have some plans to do ecological modeling one day. So that's basically my career. So I started as an MPhil in the year 2020, June 2020, which is last year, July 2020 rather. I upgraded from my MPhil to my PhD. Okay, so it was what some countries call a candidacy exam, where you have to present the work that you've done already and show them what you plan to build on. And then that gets awarded as a PhD. Anyone can tell me what a PhD is? Type in it in the chat. What is a PhD? Somebody can unmute their mic and tell me. Okay. So a PhD is a Doctor of Philosophy. So that's why I saw a lot of lecturers and researchers get a PhD, right? And that is called a Doctor of Philosophy. In some countries, I think they still call it a DPhil. So you have an MPhil and you have a DPhil, right? So this is what I've done. I am going to share now as my screen of something I did recently. So let me zoom out. So this is called a poster presentation. So last year, as you know, everything was virtual. So everything was virtual. In the fact that it was virtual, I was able to participate in a conference called the Gulf and Caribbean Fisheries Institute virtual annual conference. It was virtual this time. It was the 73rd annual conference. So I focus on the ecology of mojaras, right? And I have many other fish, but I focus on mojaras because if I zoom in here, you can see that all of these have a similar look to them. They all belong to the same family of fish, family Geraeidae. So they are, some people pronounce them mojaras, right? I think it's a Spanish too. So the mojaras, they tend to be very similar. And what happens is, because they are similar, they tend to feed on similar items. Okay, so what they fed on mainly was copepods. There were two types of ostracods, a smaller one and a larger one. They fed on mostly like eggs from, I think some of the eggs were from the copepods, but also some eggs maybe from other fish as well. They fed on plant matter as well. So when you see the diet overlap, so I looked at the diet overlap of these fish. So these are the fish that have the most overlap. So E. argentus, which is the juvenile of this species, overlapped heavily with the juvenile in the Diapterus auratus fish. Okay, so I looked into how they manage that. So I don't know if you know this, but let's say anyone here ever competition, like you ran a race for sports day or something. So just put your hands up if you've been in a competition and you ran a race for sports day. I think Alex is putting his hand up, Ivanka, Jermaine, right. So you know that unless you all have the exact same time, it might have a tie. But usually there's usually a placement, right? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, etc. Right? Because there's one gold medal to be had. Okay. So like think of the 100 meters race at the Olympics, there's mainly one gold medal. Sometimes they have, they have exceptions, two persons have the same score show. However, this thing is similarly in an ecosystem, right? Everyone wants to have their own resources. Anyone else? Okay, another question. You can show your hands. Anyone here has siblings and has had a bit of an argument, I wouldn't say fight, has had an argument with their siblings about a meal or a toy, you get the last cookie or something like that. Anyone here has a sibling that's living in the house with you and you all have had an argument, right? So I
don't have a sibling.
Let me see. Justin, what you said? You don't have siblings?
I don't have a sibling. My sister is adults.
Okay, so they're adults. So you never had an argument, anybody, or even with your parents, any of them ever ate something that you were looking forward to eating?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you know what it feels like, right? So similarly, in an ecosystem, there are finite resources. So if there's a pack of a snack, a pack of Oreos, there is, okay, let's say a pack of Oreos has 4 Oreos, okay? So let's say you wanted all 4, right? To feel full rather, and feel, satisfied, you needed 4 Oreos. But here comes now, your sibling or your parent might ask you for 1. You end up having to split 2 of your Oreos. So you get 2, your parent gets 2, or your sibling gets 2, right? That's fun because you wanted your 4 Oreos, right? So similarly, in nature, these organisms sometimes have to share finite resources because if you buy a pack of Oreos, it have 4 in it. You can't, unless you buy the family pack. Sometimes it's a finite resource. So maybe you have 1 snack remaining and you have to give it away, right? So similarly, in these ecosystems, if these fish are similar and they have a similar taste, they feed on the same thing, then it is the law states, the rule as it pertains to niche and rules in an ecosystem. It states that 2 organisms can't occupy the exact same niche without there being an issue for resources, right? So they will be competing for limited resources. So what happens is that I'm scrolling across here now. What happens is that you can see that what they have to do is that they start to distribute themselves, okay? So even though this is along the same stretch of a channel, this is along one stretch of a channel, right? I sampled at 3 different locations. And what I found was that these species tend to kind of occupy, one species might tend to occupy that location mainly, okay? So here at the mineral spring, which is the point, the first site at the top of the spring, I realized that Euthynostomus argenteus, the one in blue, occupies that. So even though you might catch a few of the other fish, they're in lower numbers, right? This is the number of individuals per hectare. And it's not this amount of fish I catch, but I scale it up to give you an idea of the area. So against the entire area, this is the amount that you would expect in that area. So you realize, okay.
The fish you catch live?
Huh? No, none of them live because I euthanize them. I can't have them in captivity. So I euthanize them as soon as I get them so they don't suffer for any length of time. So I have the E. argenteus that occupies the mineral spring. Then Diapterus auratus tends to occupy, this is the middle site, Seacam. Any Jamaicans know where Seacam is in Clarendon?
No.
Anyone know? No? Okay. So, but they tend to occupy that. Then you have the mouth, which feeds into along Salt River when it starts to enter into the ocean. In that area, I sampled and I realized, okay, you catch more Diapterus rhombeus. And of course, you get a few of the others, Gerritsonarius, that occupies the mouth, and which it makes sense because the mouth is a larger area than some of these areas, okay? So you realize that these fish already, without just instinctively, they start separating themselves from, if they feel like there's too much competition, they're gonna go elsewhere where they can get enough food. So similarly, you realize that over a period of time as well, that they also occupy the entire channel at different times. So this is the first 3 months that I sampled. This would be the first 3 months that I sampled. I realized I caught mostly Diapterus rhombeus. As we continued, you realize, okay, in the second thing, I didn't catch many in the second period, but in the third period, you realize you catch more Diapterus auratus and Diapterus argenteus. So you see that they already start to separate themselves. So that's the research that I do. Just a little bit on that. And you can ask me more about this. So as you can tell, I'm a fisheries biologist, and I am to some extent passionate about it. One of the good things about the research that I do, and well, the degree that I do, and I think maybe some parents, if parents might want to ask about it as well, is the financing I was able to get so far. So I am a national of Trinidad and Tobago. As such, for my bachelor's, I was covered under the GATE program. So I did not have to spend any money for my tuition. My mother covered my housing expenses, housing and living expenses. For my master's into my PhD, I have been on awards. So I got a departmental award in my first year, and then I got the graduate scholarship in my second, third, and fourth year. So I get it for 3 years roughly. So I'm going into my fifth and final year, by God's grace, my final year of my PhD program. And I will most likely will be getting a departmental award, which still will cover some expenses. But because of that, I also get a tuition exemption. So because of, thank you, Ivanka. So it's a tuition exemption. So I've never had to pay tuition, by God's grace. I've never had to pay tuition to pursue my education. And I think that it was important for me. I'm good at academia and I'm good at school, but I'm not rich. I don't come from a wealthy family. As such, I knew that I would have to work hard to ensure that I can find some way to get scholarships, to get some awards, so that I could get my education without necessarily burdening my family or even burdening myself, because I know a lot of persons have to take out very huge loans to fund their education, and then they spend the rest of their time kind of paying back student loans. So I know that as a difficult thing. So I'm very grateful that I have been able to achieve that so far. So I'll stop sharing, and I'm going to go now into just a minute. Okay. Okay. I'm going to share now a website that I love to use. And I want to talk, I'm just going to spend a few more minutes showing you some other Caribbean researchers. And I want you all to feel inspired and feel and see how exactly you as well can become a Caribbean researcher in whatever field you choose. It doesn't have to be biology. I know a lot of biologists because I'm a biologist. So I'm sharing with you now, this is a site called ResearchGate. Okay, this is a site called ResearchGate. ResearchGate is a way to connect to particular other academics in the field and other research scientists. So for instance, I got a notification this morning. Yesterday, I requested a document researcher posted that is similar to what I researched, and he was able to send it to me. So it's one of the easiest ways to interact with fellow researchers. This young man here is called Jason Alamu the first. He is currently working at the National University of Singapore in a postdoctoral position, meaning he got his PhD and he got a job in the University of Singapore to work as a postdoc. One of the things that people must note is that when you pursue a PhD, very often you don't have as much work experience because you spend most of your time actually doing research. So you don't have as much work experience as you might want. As such, postdocs are great positions and great jobs. They usually pay well, and they could start as persons who have that research experience but haven't been working. So I think that it's a good way, and it's something that I'm looking into as well. So I'm showing you, he did his PhD with the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus, And now he's in Singapore in a postdoc position. I've interacted with him, I've had a conversation with him, and he's doing very well for himself. He has a high research interest index. He has many citations, meaning people who reference his work. So this is a lot for a young researcher. So he has done a very great job. Let me show you another friend of mine, Tanisha Barrett. She did her MPhil at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And right now she is working at the University of Hong Kong. And they post up, they love to post it on their website and stuff, because I don't know if they've had I don't know if she's their first Jamaican employee there, but they definitely are very proud to have her at the University of Hong Kong. She's a forensic entomologist, and she's working as a research assistant at the University of Hong Kong with one of the marine institutes. I'm not certain what she does, but she seems to be enjoying Hong Kong so far. I have another friend I want to show you. His name is Akil Williams. So he did his Bachelor's of Science in Biology and Nutritional Science at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, and then he did his Master's of Science in Epidemiology at the University of the West Indies, Mona. So currently he works at the Caribbean Center for Health System and Research and Development. However, there was a period of time he worked in the height of COVID. So he did his degree in epidemiology long before we knew there would be a pandemic. And so, of course, when the time came, when the pandemic hit, he was able to get very good work as well. He worked with the North Central Regional Health Authority for a period of time, and then he switched over to this work. He felt like it was more in line with what he wants to do in terms of nutrition and dietetics. So I think that's awesome. Let me see who else. Another researcher. What's another researcher? I wonder if I have her. Okay, so I can't find the other researcher just yet. Okay, let me see. Okay. So as such, I just wanted to share with you guys some of the, because as I say, it's an easy way to interact with other researchers, and it shows, how to say, it is an easy way to interact with other researchers. And I just wanted to show you all that even if you come from, once you come from the Caribbean, there is opportunities. I know a lot of times we can sometimes feed into this idea that we have to go further out of our country in order to achieve greatness. And that's not necessarily true. But nevertheless, I want people to understand that the world is at our hands, and you are entitled to going anywhere in this world that you can and doing the best that you can do, right? God has given you, not to preach, but God has given you the ability to live on this earth, and this earth is for you, and for you to treat with kindness and respect, and to treat others with kindness and respect. So even if you decide to go to Singapore, once you are respecting those people's culture, you have a right to be there. If you decide to work in the USA, if you decide to work in Canada, if you decide to work in Trinidad, if you decide to work in the British Virgin Islands, you have a responsibility to love and respect the environment that you are in, okay, and work hard. So I just wanted to show you all, if you all have any questions, if your parents have any questions about what you should pursue in your high school career in order to get into research, by all means ask me. And I just want to make a disclaimer, it is not always a walk in the park. It is sometimes very frustrating. As you're in university and you have assignments after assignment after assignment, and no lecturer is letting up every lecturer things that you have to do. They don't want to hear this lecturer gave you this work for this week and the same day. They don't need to hear that. What they need to hear is that you have your work ready, okay? So it's not an easy process, and it's very frustrating, and this pandemic has been very frustrating for someone like myself who is accustomed to being on campus and moving about. And as such, now I'm kind of stuck at home, but that is okay. Everything will still get done. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask me. No. Anyone?
Miss, hi.
Bianca?
How,
Yeah. That's not Alex. Let me hear you, Bianca.
how did you know you wanted to be a marine scientist?
It's a good question, and the answer is a little funny. Okay? I wanted to be a marine biologist because of a particular cartoon. Okay, so let me pause my share and I'm going to show you which cartoon I mean. So I'm going to show you the cartoon that's you're seeing it.
Yes, miss. But we're not hearing anything.
Okay, hold on. Let me just stop sharing and then let me share as yes. It might seem silly, but this I must admit this is one of the reasons why.
Do you know a guy who talked to a kangaroo? Who's always ready to learn about something new? Whose favorite book has all the animals you could wish? Who's proud to say his best friend is a fish? That's right, it's my man Stanley. Oh yeah, it's my man Stanley. Welcome to Stanley's World. Come help him figure out what life is all about. Who takes you swimming with dolphins? Laughs with the lion too. No problem Stan can solve. This solving ain't involved. Having a friend like you. Having a friend like you. It's Stanley. It's Stanley. With a friend like you. It's Stanley. It's Stanley. It's Stanley.
It was fun, but yes, basically Stanley and Discovery Channel. So I love to watch a lot of the programs. So I always love the environment. I always love anything to do with nature. I always love science. And I know a lot of people in my age group, everybody wanted to be a marine biologist when they were growing up and weren't really stuck with it. But I always wanted to be a marine biologist. I didn't even look at money. I know some people who depend on the job they want to go into, they look at, okay, how much money would you make? I kind of gathered that scientists don't necessarily make a lot of money. They make enough to be comfortable, but they don't make ridiculous amounts of money, But that's something I just always was passionate about. I was always fascinated by the marine world, marine organisms, especially the mammals. Now I kind of prefer fish a little bit, and marine mammals, they're nice on screen, but they're not always the nicest to be in the water with because they're very huge and they're very excited. So even I have when I went to Lime Key one day and we were coming back and some dolphins were chasing boats. So Lime Key is like a island off of Port Royal in Jamaica. And some dolphins were chasing the boat, and I was really excited. I was like, well, it would have been nice to be in the water with them. And one of the dive professionals was like, listen, dolphins are not very fun to be in the water with. They are easily excited and it's kind of daunting to be in the water with them. They're huge and they swim very fast and they can easily disorient you. So that's why I wanted to be a marine biologist, just for the dolphins, fish, Stanley, and Discovery Channel. So that's just it mainly. And yeah, anyone else has any other questions?
Which oceans did you explore?
Which oceans? So I haven't explored many oceans. I have done some diving, some free diving in Port Royal, Jamaica, as well as Discovery Bay, Jamaica. So all of that is a part of the Caribbean Sea, as well as Charlottesville, Tobago. I've done my deep sea diving, the PADI, that's with the tank and the mask and everything. I've done that in Tobago, in Charlottesville, Tobago, which is the Caribbean Sea as well. So that's what I've done. Those are the seas I've explored so far. Anyone else? Okay. if no one else has any questions, let's move on. I think Kanishka, you have a presentation now, so you can go ahead, Kanishka.
We have the career presentation with the career symposium.
Yes.
I'm not into STEM a lot, so I think this is why I wanted to do this. So just be warned, my presentation is not like based on STEM. Let me just share my screen. Okay, so this is my career symposium by me, Kanishka Prasad. Hold up. This is my aspired career. At this point in my life, there are many hobbies I enjoy, including making jewelry, painting, and photography. Although I derive a great sense of satisfaction from each one, I am uncertain of the career path I would like to pursue. I began making jewelry this summer vacation to keep myself occupied, and my friends have shown an interest in purchasing my creations. Jewelry making is a career that I wouldn't mind pursuing, but I don't think that is my dream career. So this is a picture of jewelry I made. So this is the necklace over here. This is the bracelet, and these two are the earrings. I don't know if you could see, but that's my jewelry. Since I don't know what my aspired career is, I was told to do a career that interests me. This career would be modeling. So I've always loved modeling. Like, I find it so interesting and cool how people like model, and it's just really cool to me. Modeling is a career that I've considered pursuing, but I don't think it's for me. Everyone from my friends to my cousins tell me that I walk like a model. Honestly, it looks really fun and enjoyable. I mean, who wouldn't want to fly all over the world and get paid to showcase fabulous clothes? Duties involved in modeling. Some of the duties involved in modeling are: you'll be used to display clothing, you'll be used to represent companies at shows, you will work with photographers, hairstylists, clothing stylists, makeup clothes stylists, as well as makeup artists to produce the desired look for photo shoots. You'll get to travel all over the world for fashion shows and meet designers and photographers. This is a picture of a model and reality TV star Kendall Jenner. She was used along with some of her family, like Kylie Jenner, to represent Versace in 2019's Met Gala. The Met Gala was in New York, and she lives in Los Angeles. So she was flown in from Los Angeles to New York. And this is a very good example of the duties models must serve. Educational skills needed to be a model. To model, there is not formal education needed. However, there are some skills which are needed. Some are good communication skills, being open to change, patience, concentration, physical skills like movement, coordination, grace, fitness, and dexterity, being organized, which is good time management, good personal hygiene, and dedication. Work environment. The work environment for models will vary depending on the type of models. So most people don't know, but there are different types of models, like you'll see later here. Some types of models most known. So there are some that are like known throughout the world and some that aren't known as much. Some are fashion models, aka editorial models. Their work environment is mostly in a studio or outside location since they're used for photo shoots. Runway model. The name of the model implies that the work environment, which is a runway. They are commonly seen on the runway modeling clothes for the company which they are modeling for. Swimsuits and lingerie models / fitness models. Both types of models can be used on the runway or in a studio or outside location for photo shoots. So this is a fashion model, this is a runway model, and this is both the swimsuit and fitness model. Why did I consider pursuing modeling as a career? I considered pursuing modeling as a career for numerous reasons, including my height. So I am very tall for my age. I'm not tall, but everyone tells me that. My walk, according to my friends and family, I don't find I walk like a model, but they find I do. So that was one of the reasons. Clothing and shoes, I love dressing up. Like I think it's just a girl thing. I love doing it. Makeup, same thing. I love traveling. I love traveling so much. Social aspects of the career and keeping fit. I love to exercise a lot. It's an addiction I have, and it's really fun to me. However, I have watched many interviews with models and realized that modeling might not be for me because there's a lot of psychological pressure to look a certain way and it can affect your self-confidence. Also, there is a negative effect on your health if you do not nourish your body with the right nutrients, and these effects can be long term. So, for Victoria's Secret, to be a Victoria's Secret angel, you have to have 19% body fat and under, and scientists say 14% and under body fat is very unhealthy for you. I think this is one of the reasons I didn't want to become a model anymore once I found that out. How would modeling be beneficial to my country? Being from a small country like Trinidad and Tobago, there aren't many well-known celebrities. For my generation, the biggest celebrity from Trinidad and Tobago is rapper Nicki Minaj. When Nicki became famous, it was good publicity for Trinidad and Tobago, as well as the whole Caribbean. Another well-known celebrity throughout the world is Cardi B. Although she was not born in Trinidad or Tobago, her mom is Trinidadian, which gave Trinidad some publicity, but not as much as when Nicki became famous. I think since these two celebrities brought publicity to Trinidad and the Caribbean, being a successful model from Trinidad will benefit my country as well as the Caribbean.
Thank you, Kanishka. I like that your presentation was honest and it was true to yourself, because I love that. I think personally for me, I watch a lot of influencers on Instagram, on YouTube. So I like that it is a very lucrative career. I don't know if you could share, but share your screen again, and I want you to go back to the slide of what is required to be a model. I want you to go back to that slide, different like values that you would. You could share your screen and go back to that particular slide.
Okay, which one? The
one with the listing. I
Did
really right. Yes. Thank you. So you see, I love that I go back. No, go back to the one with the education and skills. Yes.
Okay.
I love that you listed out the things that are required, because I see a lot of people, sometimes people think that modeling might be, I mean, it's wrong to think so, because that is a shallow career, which is not true, because I must admit, seeing a lot of more full-figured models. I used to watch American Next Top Model when I was a child, probably shouldn't have. But looking at Takara and some of these more full-figured, dark-skinned women modeling, it did help to boost my confidence, and it did help that, seeing someone who is similar to me out there on the runway. And I think that out there modeling clues. And even now, when I look at influencers, I still look at women who look more similar to me. And I think that is definitely one of the things that models definitely benefit others from, or others benefit from models, right? So even look at one of these skills, I love that you talk about, good communication skills, which is very important to any career, and what we call these are transferable skills. So even if you delve more into modeling, these are things that you can use in any other career that you might delve into. So good communication skills, being open to change, being able to fly or being able to pack quickly and move to and head to another location, having patience, right? Having having concentration, and all those things. I love that, having good time management, good personal hygiene, dedication, and I think that all those things are so important to any career that you delve into. So I love that you highlighted those. Good job, Kanishka. I really love that you were true to yourself. And because we had a discussion and you were saying that you don't know if you're really into STEM like that, even though you're good at it. You're definitely good at it. But I like that you said, I like that you delve into something that's more true to yourself. So keep it up, Kanishka. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Miss.
All right. So up next is Mr. David Bishop. So Mr. David, you ready? You can start sharing your screen if you have something to share. If not, you can just go from the top of your head. David, you ready? Mr. David Bishop? Guys, no one can tell me I'm talking. I'm chatting with my mic off. But up next is Miss Ivanka Waldron. So Miss Ivanka, you ready?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, go ahead. You have a screen to share?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, you go ahead.
Now, during this camp, I have realized that me and Miss Bowman have a lot in common. And so this is my career path, a marine biologist by me, Ivanka Waldron. What is a marine biologist? First, we have to understand what is marine biology. Marine biology is the study of marine organisms, their behaviors, and interactions with the environment. Now, a marine biologist will study biological, oceanography, and the associated fields of chemical, physical, and geological oceanography to understand marine organisms. Why do I want to become a marine biologist? Well, there are many reasons on why I would like to become a marine biologist, but here are some. I love the ocean. I like swimming. I like everything about the ocean. My favorite animal in the ocean is a whale shark. I can help protect marine life and maybe help human life as well by finding cures using fish skin or something like that. Yes, I can help in water pollution. This job engages in a lot of traveling, and surprisingly, I love to travel. I would like to also learn more about marine organisms while doing this job. Qualifications to be a marine biologist. You typically need to have a high school diploma or equivalent, complete a bachelor's degree in marine biology or related field, and complete a master's or doctoral degree in marine biology. How can this job benefit the community? Being a marine biologist, I can help a lot in my community by putting up signs on the beach to help with pollution and do annual beach cleanups. Give knowledge to fishermen about fishing, overfishing, and bycatch, and help animals that may have been caught in fishing nets or other garbage items. Well, this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening.
Nice. Short and sweet, but Ivanka, thank you so much. Watching this presentation actually got me a little more excited, and kind of reminded me of how I started, and like, the processes and the thinking through in your teenage years, because sometimes, you reach a certain point in your career, and when the work start to pile on, you kind of forget why you started in the first place. So I thank you for this presentation, because what you touched on is so true in terms of there's so much that we don't know about the ocean, and so many things that the ocean has helped persons with, in terms of, as you talk about fish scales that are used on burn victims, even in terms of, like, recently I'm doing a particular course, and I realized that there is a need for bridging the gap between with marine biologists and persons who in fisheries and disaster risk management, because certain organizations have been looking into, like, after a hurricane, how can we help fisher folk, and how can we help those persons, replenish their stocks, and because sometimes they can't go back out to sea for a while. So I think that is what you touched on, and ways that it can benefit the community are very profound, and there are so many ways. And I thank you so much. Anything else anyone wants to ask Ivanka any questions, or Ivanka, you have any question that you want to ask or post the class? You're a quiet bunch, I swear. Oh, it's a quiet bunch.
Miss,
Miss.
I like to swim in Charlottesville as well.
Yeah, so Charlotte has really nice water. I wouldn't lie. The water is so calm, and I'm happy I was able to dive there, because the reef is nice, but also it's calm enough that it doesn't daunt a first-time diver. So that's true. Alex, yes, let me hear you, Alex. Alex, you want to say something? You can unmute your mic.
No, miss.
You sure? All right. So thank you so much, Ivanka. Thank you. Let me see. So we're breaking at 12. Anyone, no one else? Anyone else? Who else is up next after Ivanka? Okay.
Erika is
Okay.
Erika is next after the Ivanka. After Waldron.
Who is next? Who?
Erika French.
I'm not seeing Erika online today. Okay. Not seeing Erika online. So as I said, I guess we will have to take I think we'll have to take a break. And they're saying, so in the chat, I'm gonna read out loud what I'm seeing in the chat. So we will break at 12 JA 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and return at 1 p.m. Jamaica time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please use the time to complete assignments on Google Classroom. You all have assignments outstanding. Some of you all have assignments outstanding for me as well, and I plan to mark everything today. So I hope you all get it done. Now we'll be coming back because we have a presenter, Mr. Lance Scott, PhD candidate at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And he's touching on a topic that is very important to all of us. So please return, or you can stay online. I'm just gonna take some time to go and have a.
What time are we supposed to come back, Miss?
It will be 1 p.m. for you, Drew. 1 p.m. for you? Yeah.
Okay, Miss.
Yes. So we'll be back.
Miss, what about the robotics class?
Miss Rodan, yes, you're online.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, Ivanka, go ahead and ask Miss Rodan your question, please.
Miss, what about the robotics class? Are we having that again?
Right. So we will have it, however, it will not be during the camp time, because the presenter was not able to make it during the 3 weeks that we would have had a camp. However, he promised to send a date. So once the information is made available, I'll send the invitation to your parents and also post information on Google Classroom. Hopefully it will be before September, before we all go back to school.
Okay, Miss.
Okay, you all. So I am going to take a break. I'm going to leave and return for when Mr. Scott has come on. But great presentation so far, you guys. Thank you so much. And I look forward to, I might be here for the rest of them tomorrow though. Well, I wouldn't be here because I have a class, but I might look back on the recordings. I hope to look back on the recordings and see what you all presented on. So have a good break. Just break for 1 hour and then you'll return at 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. for your relative time zones.